Hey metalheads, welcome back to the channel. So, doing a little bit of an impromptu video here. I'm sure most of y'all have already heard about Ozzy Osbourne passing earlier today. So just wanted to make a video to kind of talk about that a little bit. Not many celebrity deaths really affect me. I mean, yeah, they're sad, whatever, but there's never really been anyone that just their death has like kind of shocked me or kind of just made me feel something. There was only one other that happened that kind of made me do that. John Madden. Those reasons are for another part of my life that don't really have anything to do with heavy metal music, but just another part of my life that he impacted at me as a kid. I knew the day Ozzy passes was going to be a tough day for me and for a lot of people in the heavy metal community, musicians, bands, fans. It's Yeah, I knew that was going to be a tough day, and the day finally came. Today, Ozzy Osbourne is no longer with us. Him being considered the godfather of heavy metal, Black Sabbath being like the founding members of heavy metal, not an understatement. Ozzy was the voice of heavy metal. His impact is limitless. You just don't know how far his impact has been, because bands today were influenced by bands that were influenced by Black Sabbath and so on. That trail just goes on. You know, you have Black Sabbath here, and then all these other bands just bleed down into that. I have seen Ozzy live several times. He's actually the only artist I've seen probably the most. Just kind of by sheer coincidence, I went to a lot of Ozfests back when they were really big and popular, and that's kind of why I've seen Ozzy so many times, is because I went to a lot of Ozfests. I wanted to see all the other bands that were on there, and Ozzy just happened to be on there as well. But Ozzy was my very first concert, my very first true. I'm literally like first concert ever. I didn't even go to any other like type of music concerts when I was a kid or anything. Ozzy was literally the very first concert I went to, and I remember it was Sepultura, Typo Negative, and Ozzy Osbourne. And at the time, I was fan of all of them. Fan of Sepultura, fan of Typo Negative, fan of Ozzy Osbourne, and so that was my first concert ever, and it was, I still can really remember that day, just the atmosphere and everything. It being my just my first concert, first heavy metal concert in these bands that I was really enjoying seeing them live. So I got to see Ozzy there, and then the following year I went to Ozfest to see him again, and it was when he was reuniting with Black Sabbath. The drummer Bill Ward was the only one not on that bill, but it was Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler and Ozzy Osbourne doing Black Sabbath. So I got to see that as well too, which, I mean, looking back at how much I've gotten more into heavy metal and loved it, I didn't realize what I was actually witnessing. I had been listening to heavy metal for a long time. I knew Black Sabbath, I knew the influence and the impact they had, but uh, when I was watching that, I didn't really realize the history I was seeing for that. My two best friends and my dad actually went to that show with me, and so my dad took us to go see that. It was awesome that he did that. He hung in there like a true father would and let me and my friends just have a good old time there, seeing those bands and seeing Ozzy play. Then, like I said, went to some other Ozfests to see Ozzy play a few more times there. Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne did so much for heavy metal. He he probably doesn't even know really all that he's done. Maybe he does. I don't know, but definitely, definitely gonna be missed. Like I mentioned earlier, I knew the day he passed was gonna be a very unique day for me. Just still kind of processing that, and just you know, knowing he's not around anymore. Loved all his solo albums. Loved when he was with Black Sabbath. Just, yeah. It was well known that he was struggling with Parkinson's disease, and kind of that Back to the Beginning show that they just did a few weeks ago. It's kind of like, that was Ozzy's going to be his last performance, his last concert, so to speak. He wasn't going to do anymore because that disease just really was taking its toll on him. I think he probably knew also that it was coming, so he wanted to do that, and now he's gone. So, yeah, I'm hoping, everyone kind of does what they need to through this, celebrate them. If you need to cry, cry. But just remember Ozzy's impact on heavy metal music, the fans, like, we wouldn't be here for him. Without him, metal music may not be around. Metal music may not even be the way it is. It's hard to say. But without Ozzy and Black Sabbath, what we have today as heavy metal music just would not exist. This channel probably would not exist without Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and his impact and everything. So, Ozzy, rest in peace. For everyone else, keep it loud, keep it metal. Be blessed, everyone.